When I bought my house in the Willow Glen subdivision, I was thrilled. After years of designing luxurious outdoor spaces for high-end clients, it was finally my turn to bring my own backyard to life. I had visions of layered flower beds, native plants that encourage pollinators, a curved stone walkway, a koi pond, and a pergola covered in jasmine. But I didn't account for Karen, the HOA vice president, and, in her mind, neighborhood royalty. It started innocently enough. A knock at the door during week 2 of my move-in. I opened it to a tightly wound woman in a beige visor, HOA badge lanyard swinging from her neck. "Hi, I'm Karen. Welcome to the neighborhood. Just wanted to remind you that any landscaping changes require HOA approval." "I've already submitted my landscape plan online," I told her with a polite smile. "It's within all the guidelines." She blinked. "I'll double-check that." That was my first warning. By week 3, I had begun trenching for the irrigation and laying flagstone pathways. That's when Karen returned, this time in my backyard, clipboard in hand. "You can't have a water feature. It attracts mosquitoes." "It's a pond with a filtration system," I said calmly, stepping out from behind the trellis I was framing. "And again, all pre-approved. Section 4.8 of the guidelines allows water features under 50 square feet." She frowned and jotted something on her clipboard. "I'll be sending a notice." I laughed under my breath. Good luck with that. The next day, a neon orange cease and desist sign was zip-tied to my gate. Along with it, an HOA citation claiming unauthorized modifications and threatening fines of $100 a day. What Karen didn't know, despite the tasteful truck labeled Wildscape Designs by Elena parked in my driveway, was that I've been a licensed landscape designer for over 15 years. I've consulted on municipal parks, arboretums, and even botanical gardens. I know code. I wrote parts of the local drought compliance guides she thinks she's enforcing, so I prepared my counterstrike with the precision of a blueprint. First, I printed out my approved project submission, signed and time-stamped by the HOA's Architectural Review Committee. Then I dug up City Water Ordinance 22.14, showing my pond and plants were not only legal, but exemplary for water conservation. Then I emailed the entire HOA board, attaching the documents and my license. I CC'd Karen. But I wasn't done. That weekend, I hosted a backyard reveal and pollinator workshop for the community. Flyers went up, local residents came with folding chairs and wide eyes as I guided them through the newly finished landscape, terraced garden beds with native salvia and milkweed, solar lights, and even a bee hotel built into the fence. People were blown away. One elderly couple asked if I could consult on their yard. A board member, clearly irritated by Karen's overreach, told me privately, "Honestly, this is the most eco-friendly yard we've seen in the neighborhood. You're exactly what this HOA needs." Karen, meanwhile, stood rigid near the lemonade table, arms crossed and lips thinner than a dandelion stem. She left early. The following Monday, I received a formal apology letter from the HOA board rescinding all citations and thanking me for setting a model example for sustainable landscaping. Karen was quietly removed from her role as head of architectural compliance 2 weeks later. Now when neighbors walk their dogs past my yard, they pause to admire the blooms and butterflies. My yard has been featured in the local paper, and I'm booked solid with consultation requests from homeowners who want something like yours. And Karen, she hasn't stepped foot in my yard since.